Hello and welcome. I'm Eric Gao, and here's what happened this week. Starting off in sports news, baseball star Yu-cheng has signed the biggest contract in Taiwan's professional league history. His 3.5-year deal with the Fubon Guardians is worth $2.8 million. Chang is hailed as the best hitter in Taiwan's baseball history. He played in the U.S. major leagues for 5 years, setting several hitting records for Taiwanese players, including 20 home runs. Chang played his first game with the Guardians on Friday night against the Uni Lions. Turning from a sports star to space, new data from Taiwan's first homemade weather satellite, the Triton, could help make forecasts more accurate. Joyce Zeng has more.
After over 6 months of careful calibration and data validation, Taiwan's space agency is sharing preliminary results from the first domestically made weather satellite, Triton. Its launch last year was hailed as a breakthrough for Taiwan's tech prowess, with science leaders expressing high hopes for Triton's weather forecasting capabilities. Also known as the Wind Hunter, the satellite is designed to predict typhoon intensities. The space agency says Triton can gather between 30,000 to 40,000 reflection signals each day, which is a measure of the height of sea surfaces. This helps fill gaps in radar data, Taiwan's main source to forecast heavy rainfall, and significantly boosts its accuracy.
这个猎风者他起运出发前，就是好像你摇起足久的囡仔吼，要给他上出国读册赶快吼，像以前我妈妈一样，就是很不舍。 但是呢，还是要放他出去。经过这半年多的努力，这个孩子不仅非常的健康，都勇敢，都抽用，也交出非常不错的成绩哦。
Currently, Triton focuses on parts of the Indian, Atlantic, and Western Pacific Oceans. The space agency hopes that Triton will help set new standards for weather monitoring and extreme weather preparedness. Taiwan is aiming for new heights in the aerospace sector. Looking ahead, the space agency hopes to select a domestic rocket launch site by the end of this year and also launch the highly anticipated upgraded Formosat 8, an Earth observation satellite, next year, aiming to give a clearer view of the world from space. John Su and Joyce Sun in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
What if humans could slow down the aging process? Now, that might sound like something from a science fiction movie, but scientists at a top Taiwan research facility are working on a platform that could prolong human life through cell therapy. Leslie Lau explains.
Taiwan is searching for the fountain of youth. But the search isn't a daring expedition into the unknown. It involves pipettes, experimentation, and patience. The key here is cell therapy. Cell therapy involves extracting so-called supercells from a donor and implanting them in a patient where they start to grow and multiply. Supercells may sound like a one-size-fits-all solution, but it's not that simple. The science behind it is precise, and only certain supercells can treat certain medical conditions. Currently, there isn't enough data to tell us what kind of supercells are best suited for fixing different problems. That's where Taiwan's Industrial Technology Research Institute comes in. It's working on a database called Key Functional Cell Identity, or KFCI, to identify which supercells are most suitable for treatment.
We don't want to put in your body and you don't know what actually the treatment will make me feel better. Yeah, so that's the key point why we want to develop this platform.
So far, the database has successfully identified supercells suitable for treating 40 medical conditions. They've had the most success with treating patients with myocardial infarction or heart attack and wounds in patients with diabetes, which usually take more time to heal.
We did this one is for like you can treat or restore your organ. Yeah, so that's why right now we do this one is for the myocardial infection, and the other is like diabetes wounds.
KFCI works by identifying certain biomarkers in donor cells. This could be anything from genetic indicators to proteins. Cells with different biomarkers are tested against several medical conditions to see which combination of biomarkers shows the most promise for treatment.
And we're using not just the gene level, We going to even the protein and can tell you how the behavior of your cell, and then you can have the way to identify who is a really super donor.
Think about it this way. The treatment to a certain medical condition is like a password. The biomarkers are the numbers and letters that make up the password. Once researchers figure out the right password for each medical condition, then they unlock an effective therapy. The potential for this technology is vast. It might even help slow down aging. As you grow older, the body wears down. But if KFCI can find the supercells that can help regenerate or even regrow organs, then it could prolong human life.
In the future, we hope it can just do the OA for the need to recover back.
And because of its life-extending potential, the team behind KFCI earned an Edison Award from the US, recognizing innovation in biomedicine.
Could be a life changer. You know, it could really, once that hits the market and you start to gather more data, you could literally change how long people live and their quality of life.
In the future, researchers plan to culture cells on computer chips for quicker analysis. Once the database is more complete, supercells can be cultured with robotics for production, bringing down costs. Taiwan is in a race to become a leader in cell therapy. But this technology is not so much about big aha moments, but rather it's about strapping down, doing the research, and finding treatments one biomarker at a time. Ryan Wu and Leslie Liao in Hsinchu for TaiwanPlus.
This remote coastal town of Sigu in Chiayi is famous for bird watching during the winter months. But in the summer, another flying animal captures locals' interest. Sandy Chi reports.
It's a very special day in the remote coastal town of Sigu in Chiayi, southern Taiwan, where a birthday party is being held for some local celebrities. In Taiwanese tradition, babies' 1-month birthdays are celebrated with dyed red cooked eggs. On this day, about 30 people have gathered under a 4-story high fan palm tree to celebrate these yellow bat babies. Unlike most bats which live in caves, the yellow bats here make their homes in fan palm and coconut trees. In fact, the locals here didn't even know these were bats for many years, thinking they were birds instead. But after a government campaign to raise awareness, people here have stopped using chemicals and planted more fan palm trees for the bats to roost in.
我们就开始跟长辈说啊，你不要用农药，因为它都会在这附近觅食。然后咱住的所在好，水源也好，这野生动物伊就会好，啊，安尼咱的居住环境就会变最好的。
More than 4,000 bats now live in 9 trees around the town, easily outnumbering the town's human population of only 250. Every year, the yellow bats migrate to Taiwan in late spring to prepare for breeding. After giving birth in June, they fly to Southeast Asian countries like Vietnam, the Philippines, and Indonesia.
现在领红蛋咯。
Residents have been celebrating the baby bats' 1-month birthdays for years.
拿好红蛋哦，好，1、2、3。
Sigu is one of the few communities in Taiwan that actively conserves its bats. The animals have long been misunderstood, researchers say.
那反而像新冠病毒，大家一开始把剑指蝙蝠，可是说真的，这么多年过后，真的没有在任何一只野外的蝙蝠身上发现过影响人类这么严重的新冠病毒。
And there are also other practical reasons to conserve the animals.
光一只蝙蝠，它可以吃3000多只的昆虫类，就是蛾啊、蚊子啊，等于是我们社区的清道夫。相对的，对社区来讲，它就是减少病虫害，然后也不会有登革热。
Locals have now developed a close bond with their friendly neighborhood bats.
伊是挂咱社区台湾的名，啊挂咱社区的名，飞出外国，甲咱介绍咱社区，佮带这侪朋友回来呢。长辈他们就会觉得很骄傲哦，袂输因嘛是咱的囝同款安尼。
蝙蝠如果不保育的话，它的数量会越来越少。蝙蝠减少，我会很伤心。
Experts say teaching young people about bats is key to changing human impressions of these animals, helping humans and bats live happily in harmony together. Luffy Lee, Pichi Zhuang, and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Traditional bamboo raft makers from Taiwan's Indigenous Amis community are working with the local government to revitalize their craft. Irene Lin looks at the 2-month workshop, helping to keep their traditions afloat.
All hands on deck. These Indigenous Amis youth from Taidong in eastern Taiwan are hauling their first scratch-built bamboo raft into the sea for trials. It's part of a 2-month course organized by a local community college and craftspeople to revive a fading traditional art. After 10 minutes of smooth sailing, the raft is declared seaworthy. Bamboo rafts were once an important part of the Amis people's traditional way of life. This is the first time raft building has been taught as a college course. With instructions from elderly craftspeople, the students are building the rafts exactly how it's been done for generations, by sourcing materials from the wilderness, then building them into a stable raft.
我比较有兴趣的是，当然是最原始的方式，就是那个从去采藤，然后到处理，然后再到那个绑的一个技巧这样。
The course is not the first or only attempt to preserve Amis seafaring traditions. Last month, the Taidong Austronesian Community College successfully sailed a bamboo raft to the Taiwan's outlying Green Island, around 40 kilometers away. On the journey, they had to navigate a powerful ocean current known as the Kuroshio or Black Current. The Amis elders say their ancestors migrated across the Pacific on these rafts, and the college course is just one way they're keeping their seafaring heritage alive. Chris Ma and Irene Lin for TaiwanPlus.
An outbreak of crown-of-thorns starfish is eating away at the coral ecosystem near Taiwan's outlying Pratas Island. Irene is back with a look at the scale of the emergency and how scientists are trying to control it.
These thorny starfish are causing massive damage to the coral ecosystem around Taiwan's outlying Pratas Island, located in the South China Sea.
我们判断这个已经发生超过1年了，这个珊瑚礁呢都已经吃过了，他们喜欢吃的几乎没有一个活的。 剩下极少数，所以这个叫80%到90%死掉。
Crown-of-thorns starfish are native to the Indo-Pacific region. They're named after the toxin-tipped spikes that cover their bodies. These starfish have a voracious appetite almost exclusively for coral. That's put a taint on their reputation. Each adult starfish can eat up to its size in coral per day. Not only do they eat a lot, there's also too many of them. Scientists in Taiwan have reported more than 1,200 starfish every 10,000 square meters, far beyond the acceptable range of 15 to 30. Coral expert Zheng Mingxiu says the crisis could spiral out of control and have an even worse effect than climate change.
习惯海鲜的破坏比白化还要严重好几倍。习惯海鲜吃过的地方，它说是10年以上很难再生。
Scientists say the outbreak now stretches 4 kilometers off the coast of Pratas Island, and the population is still expanding. With summer the starfish spawning season and no ocean diving in the winter, it's now a race against time to keep the outbreak from spreading further.
他们大概目前做法上也会参考郑老师的一个建议，他们会号召大概10几个人出去，也许利用个10天的时间了。
The team has been picking up the starfish one by one with tongues and using a specialized syringe to inject them with acid. The last mission removed only a small number of the crown-of-thorns population, about 1,800. As the outbreak continues to spread, scientists are calling for more awareness and resources to avert a coral crisis before it's too late. Chris Ma and Irene Lin for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for joining us today for Here's What Happened. Head on over to the TaiwanPlus website or for more of our stories, or follow us on social media for the latest updates. Finally, check out this baby Chinese pangolin born at Prague Zoo. Her parents are there on loan from Taiwan, and they had another pangolin pup last February. I'm Eric Gao. Take care, and we'll see you next week.